We've got a fun match today. We are starting off with our first round one match of the day. We've got Noakevbo, former Mario Kart 64 time trial world champion, as player 1, and Coolex, pretty solid versus player, as number 2. Boof just won his first round match today in terms of a play-in round. He ended up advancing. The bracket's actually a little bit off, but we've got him beating Dark Kirby at the beginning. Boof off to a rough start by hitting a bunch of drivers, but Coolex is just hanging back for items. Looks like he's going to go and get a spike shell, which is maybe not exactly what he wanted, but he got his red shells. Coolex is a shortcut champion. That's right, GG. Thanks for correcting me on that. We've got Boof off to the early start. He's got the lead, but it looks like they both have triple red shells. Looks like Coolex is going to go and fire them all off right now, but Boof is pretty well protected here with those shells, but guess what? He's got more red shells going. Has a boo, gets past the bananas. Boof comes out of the tunnel with the lead, but will those green shells protect him? It looks like the green shells are not on target as a red shell gets through. And we're off to lap 3 as Boof has the lead, but not a very big lead. Certainly Coolex has the chance to come back with these triple shrooms as he goes ahead and shrooms across the grass. Both are getting some really nice mini turbos in at the moment as they really ride these turns well. Classic shroom spot for Coolex as he catches up. Will Boof hit? No, his green shells are off. And Coolex with the first win of the day. 9-6. Boof has already played a match today. He had a play-in match earlier, and he won 87-43 over Dark Kirby. There was a switch in the bracket to make sure that players were able to get in a quick match for play-in rounds. But that is the only change that's going to happen in the bracket. Early triple reds for... Whoa! Boof gets through the mole patch. Coolex slows down a little bit to try to get some better items, but it looks like he's actually the one ahead with the triple shrooms. Boof and Coolex take it carefully around the mole patch. Boof does not fall for the banana that Coolex puts down, and now Boof has the triple shrooms. He decides to just use them on the straightaway so that he can get new items. Meanwhile, looks like Coolex has the boo, but he's holding on to it. No, he goes for the boo. He uses it, but this is not versus, so he does not get the bolt. Nicely placed fake item there. Gets Boof, as Boof remains quite a bit behind at second place. Boof takes advantage of the bolt there, and he's going to get one more. Boof is making his way back. Will he have enough time? Oh, and Coolex gets shelled. Looks like Boof has the lead, and he's going to hold on to get 9 points over Coolex's 6 as they tie it up. 15-15. And we're through 2 of 16 as we go over to Koopa Troopa Beach. Koopa Troopa really didn't get to do very much in this game because he got axed from the game because of Wario. Wario stole his go-kart, and suddenly all he gets is the track that he doesn't even get the race on. So we're going to have to see how these two drivers get through with the beach, because they're going to have to hit the tunnel as much as they can. Coolex gets it first. Booth barely makes it in, but he does make it in, and he stays within distance. Booth goes for the red shell here, and it's likely going to connect here. It does get Coolex. This gets real interesting here because Coolex has the lightning bolt, and he can use it on Booth here as Booth tries to ramp. And he does in fact do it, but Coolex also misses the ramp. But it's enough for Coolex to take the lead. Coolex takes a really interesting path through the waterfall, which is not something we usually see. It looked like Booth was trying to go for the item glitch there with the 8th place finish, but doesn't quite land it, as Coolex takes a small lead going into the final ramp. Coolex does make it in. Booth is just staying and making sure he lines it up to make sure he keeps the 6 points. Coolex with 9, Booth with 6, as Coolex takes a 3-point lead again. Even though the title is named World of Goo, I'm going to have to change that because that is not correct. We do have a tournament match going on, and I'm not sure why that didn't get included, as Booth gets in a crash. Gonna go ahead and fix the tag here. This is Booth versus Coolex. We've got a good super shroom going for Coolex as he takes a little bit of a lead there. Booth has a lightning bolt, but where are we going to see him actually use it? Is he going to use it in this little stretch here? Looks like he's just going to hold on to it for now. Meanwhile, Gigi's pretty protected with those shells. Looks like what Booth's plan is oh, but Booth wastes the red shell on Bowser instead. We go into lap 3. Coolex is up by 3 points. He's going to try to make this 6. Booth decides not to use the mushrooms yet, and looks like he's going to save it for the little gap here after the train tracks. But wait, he's not using the mushrooms yet. Interesting. Coolex fires off the green shells, and he's going to try to get... Oh, looks like Booth is going to come ahead here, but is the red shell going to hit in time? It looks like it does, and Coolex... Oh, photo finish! Coolex with the win! As Coolex leads by 6. As we head on to Flower Cup. That was definitely a big win for Coolex, who could have seen that go to a tie game, but instead leads by 6 going to Toad's Turnpike. Toad's Turnpike is a really interesting course because it is an actual 3-lane road. They call it a turnpike here, but it kind of just goes round and round. Like, how do the trucks even get on that roadway? It's a very confusing aspect of the track. But we're going to see the trucks go and try to smash into the drivers. Booth runs into the early drivers, but wow, ends up hitting 2 heavyweights to begin, but Coolex is really just holding on to try to get better items. He ends up crashing, gets the triple shrooms, and starts using them pretty quickly to try to catch up to Booth, but Booth remains a little bit ahead. Booth uses the lightning, ends up getting a star. He's off to a nice start as he gets to the next item boxes well ahead of his opponents. Coolex using the super mushrooms to try to get those in before the next item boxes. As Booth has about a 5 or 6 second lead. Coolex has the red shells, but he's a little behind. He's going to have to round the corner before he uses them. This is going to be real interesting, as Coolex had quite a few red shells, and he's gotten a little behind, so it's going to be a little harder for him to use. Looks like he gets off these red shells, but they're going to hit Luigi instead. Star and Bolt, as Coolex makes up some of the ground. Booth is really far ahead, though. Booth remains about maybe 5 or 6 seconds ahead as we enter the final lap. It looks like on this track, Booth has been driving pretty methodically, not really hitting any vehicles, while Coolex has been, which has been really the difference in this one. Booth getting some nice semi-straight mini turbos in, but these red shells are going to hit. Or maybe not. I guess he got past the corner just in time. If Booth rides a safe path here, he should take first and cut the lead down. But Booth runs into a bus. Is this going to be enough? No, it's not. Coolex takes second. Booth takes first. Booth at 36 points. Coolex at 39. As we move on to Frappe Snowland. As we know, Frappe Snowland is one of the most broken tracks in Mario Kart 64, but here, we're playing no skips. Booth with the early start as expected, as Coolex falls back to try to get better items, but takes the lead anyway off of just one red shell. Coolex slows down just to hit Booth with another red shell, and then uses the Super Shroom to take a early lead. We've got 3 green shells up here for Booth, now down to 2, and Coolex gets his own. But we know what Coolex really wanted is red shells, and he doesn't have them, but Booth does at the moment. Booth is going to go ahead and fire them off. Looks like an interesting one where Coolex ends up kind of hitting the wall after he gets that shell. Whoa, nicely shot green shell, but Booth does evade. Booth's got 3 mushrooms. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna do a time trial like Fast Lap? He's gonna go ahead and use them to get another item. He's got a star! He is close enough that where he can come back here. He's gonna take a quick straight path, and he ends up taking the lead. He's got some bananas peels, but is he gonna... Oh, he does not end up landing the banana slip on Coolex, and Coolex takes the win at the end. Coolex 48, Booth 42. Booth definitely had a good shot at that one, but here Coolex is going to take a 6-point lead. Again, Coolex falls back for the better item and gets the star. Here's always the fun part about Chocolate Mountain: is anyone going to fall off and lose big time on this turn? Coolex plays it safely and ends up smacking Booth with a fake item, as Booth carefully tries to hang with the wall to not fall off. Coolex off to a pretty good start, up like maybe 7 seconds. Booth's trying to catch up, but he's crashing into a few walls himself. Oh, Green Shell hits Booth, and he is behind. And this is always an interesting section to have the star, because you could fall off as well with that extra speed. Banana gets Booth. Booth is behind. Coolex looks like he's going to most likely take this one as long as he sticks to his driving. Booth with the second place boo. He's going to hold on to it for now until probably his item box. Oh no, he's going to hold on to it for whatever reason. He uses it finally, and he's probably going to bolt right here, which he does. But he's a little too far behind, as Coolex takes 9 points to Booth's 6. Coolex 57, Booth 48. Next up, we've got Mario's track. There's not a lot of straightaways on Mario's raceway, as Coolex, still thinking about last match, which was a really exciting one, by the way. GG won, beat Simon in a very closely contested match by 3 points. And one that really could have gone either way, as Booth takes the shell and shoves it into Coolex, but Coolex ends up taking the lead anyway. Halfway through the track already. It's a very short track. Coolex is firing off some green shells trying to hit, but it hasn't connected at this point. It looks like Booth is going to hold the red while Coolex has the green. Coolex ends up firing off the green. And oh, it actually gets past the bananas and connects. Very nicely played fake item by Booth, as Coolex falls all the way back to 6th until he gets back to 4th. Booth has a nice start here, but we've got Coolex with the start. He's going to make up a lot of ground here. Is it going to be enough? And it is very close, but Booth does keep the win. Booth gets his 9 points, Coolex with 6, as Booth cuts the deficit to 6. We've got it tied up in Flower Cup, although Booth is going to have to make up some ground here because he's down. We're going to head to Wario Stadium, a track where Wario decided it would be a great idea to just plaster big faces of himself all over the stadium. So the drivers are skipping the traditional trophy ceremonies because there's only going to be one trophy handed at the end. It's going to be after this tournament. The winner of this match is going to face Haddock or Jesse K in the next round. Booth ends up hitting the heavyweight again on another start boost as Coolex takes the early start, but we're expecting him to kind of slow down again for the item. Oh, he misses the item boxes entirely. Booth is really just going to go all the way 8th and try to get some red shells. Looks like those red shells end up striking the other characters instead. Coolex with the early start, he tries to get the Coolex just crashes, trying to do it the kind of more fancy way of going over. That is usually a good spot for using a mushroom. So Coolex off to an early start, but right now Booth is not really that far behind. Booth does make sure he slows down to get the items. Coolex saved the green shell and almost hits Booth, but actually ends up hitting. Oh, and Booth falls off based on a banana slip. Booth is really far behind now. Is he going to be able to come back? This looks like it's going to be a fairly big win for Coolex, but we'll see what happens. Booth is pretty far in 8th because of being dropped by the banana. Booth takes advantage of the shroom slides off of these triple shrooms. Try to gain a little bit of ground, but there's a lot of ground to be gained. Booth goes with the super mushrooms here. Is he gonna do the? Nope, he's just gonna go ahead and just shroom all the way through. Meanwhile, very comfortable lead at this moment for Coolex. The shortcut champion doesn't even need to use any shortcuts. Booth is going to have to use his skills from time trials at this point. He used to be a former non-shortcut time trial champion. He actually slips over another banana peel, but actually gets over this time. At this point, both drivers are just trying to drive the best they can because they're not really able to use a whole lot of items against each other. Booth does fire off a blue shell, which eventually is going to get to Coolex. And fires off a second blue shell. Looks like the blue shell hits a few AI characters on the way to Coolex. Coolex is just playing it safe. He's just holding on to his green shell, although he gets hit by the first blue shell. And Booth ends up using his first bolt, and now Coolex gets hit by another blue shell. But Booth has too much ground to make up. He tries the reds, but they don't round the wall, and Coolex gets another 9 points. Coolex gets the 72. Booth gets the 63 with the extra 6 points. The CPU did seem to slow down a little bit for Booth, which did allow him to come back, which is fortunate for him. We are now through 9 of 16 tracks, as Coolex has the edge by 9 points. Next up is Sherbetland, where the Penguins are going to make things a little interesting. The drivers do avoid the early Penguins, which is always a little bit of a threat on this track, because they will go around and go after drivers. Booth gets the early Super Shroom, and then of course gets shelled by Coolex, who likes to keep those red shells handy. Booth hits the Penguin, and is the first to hit one. Coolex off to a good start as he opens the first lap with first place. Booth gets tripped up by a banana next to the item box. Coolex crashes into the wall, but was that planned? He got his triple shrooms. Booth hanging onto his group of shells as he sees if he can get close. Oh, and an unforced error. Coolex falls off. Booth takes the lead. Second place, he's going to go and take out the AI driver and get in the first place. Booth with 2 red shells at the start. As he goes through the cave here, he has 2 red shells. If he doesn't make an error, he's probably going to win here. Coolex is a little too far to throw off those red shells before he finishes. Big one for Booth here, as Coolex is limited to only 3 points and Booth gets all 9. Mario plays spoiler, getting 6 points to take away 3 from Coolex. Big comeback for Booth? We'll see. He was down by 9 points earlier. I believe he was actually kind of close to being down 12. Coolex slows down to get the star. Coolex in a good spot, first place with a star. Booth is going to hang on to his banana peels for the time being, and looks like he's going to try to get a 7th place item. He only gets a blue shell though. Blue shell is off, and a lightning bolt. Coolex slows down to let another AI driver take the blue shell. Coolex finally activates the star as Booth ends up spinning out. Coolex, is he going to use a... Yep, he drops off a fake item in the midst of all the item boxes. Let's see if Booth crashes into it. He does crash into it. Coolex off to a really good first half of Royal Raceway. It seems like Booth may have even... Was that his own banana, or was it one of Coolex's? They both put a lot of bananas in front of the ramp. Booth's protected from some of those bananas with his green shells, but really, he's got to use those super shrooms, and he uses them. Since this isn't versus, Coolex decides to hold on to the Boo for the time being. We are off to the final stretch. Second half of lap 3. Interesting lightning. Looks like Coolex is saving the boo at the end so no one can hit him at the end. Coolex takes 9 points, the boo 6. As Coolex takes back a 6-point lead. We've got a good one here. It's only a 6-point lead. We've got 5 tracks left. Coolex does have the slight edge, but don't discount Booth. Former Time Trials champion. Bowser's Castle is always a high volatility track because, you know, this isn't Time Trials. You can't just do a distraction ghost. The Thwomps are going to go off on their own patterns. Very good open for Booth, as Booth really gets that fake item on Coolex. Both drivers played safely over the bridge, which is not a guarantee. Red shell from Coolex. Interesting move for Booth. He's just going to go on and hold on to his boo and just keep it going. Both drivers played pretty safely down the stairs to not spin out. We enter lap 3 with Booth up on Coolex, as Coolex uses his shrooms here and then grabs another item. It's going to be more shrooms. He's going to need them to come back unless Booth makes a mistake. Booth is playing it really carefully so he doesn't fall in the lava. Coolex does the same thing, but Coolex is pretty close now. Not the items he's looking for, though, as he gets the banana slips. Booth is going to play this safely. And is it going to be enough with the lightning bolt? Coolex takes the win. Incredible comeback by Coolex. The Coolex comeback. So we're off to Special Cup, and Coolex held his ground. Coolex ended up getting 30 points to Booth's 27, despite getting a 3rd place finish on Sherbetland. We move on to the Special Cup. And Booth is going to need a special run to beat Coolex here. Booth is probably going to have to win 3 or 4 tracks to come back. Looks like Booth has taken a little breather here, heading into Special Cup. Are the drivers ready? They've gotten their pit stops in. And we go on to GK's Jungle Parkway with the restless natives that throw coconuts at you. The always interesting thing about DK's Jungle Parkway is those lightning bolts, because if someone uses a lightning bolt and someone's mid-drift, they can fly off. They can fly off the track, and the natives don't like that. They'll throw coconuts at them. Booth again runs into the Wario to start the track. And he spins out and falls into the water. He goes for a swim. Coolex off to a pretty good start, all things considered. Booth is going to go ahead and use the star to do a little cut across the grass here. But he's a little behind after that dunk in the lake. Spin out again. 2 spin outs for Booth, as he is trailing by probably around 9 or 10 seconds here. Coolex with the opportunistic banana. Is it going to get Booth? It does not get Booth, but it does change his trajectory off the jump. Booth's got a way to come back. He really needs to get these wins because he's behind by 9 with only 4 tracks left. Yoshi with the surprising banana slip as Booth gets within range. Booth is behind by 5 seconds as we enter the final lap. Yoshi falls back, which is good for Booth as he aims those red shells. 2 for 1, ends up getting... Looks like with the triple shrooms, Booth actually takes the lead despite a pretty rough start to the track. 1, 2, 3. None of the shells hit as Booth takes the lead. Booth gets the shroom up the cave. He doesn't go too far left, and he takes the win 9-2-6. Booth gets a much needed win here as he keeps himself from being eliminated from this track. Coolex up 6 with 3 tracks to go. Yoshi Valley, who's going to hit their hairpins? And is anyone going to get bolted off the track? Booth decides to just keep the lead and get the first item. Coolex in second gets the boo, which is not particularly helpful for him at the moment. As both try to hit the hairpin, Booth connects, so does Coolex. Is Booth going to hit him with the green shell? Oh, it's... Both slow down. Booth does connect with it. But Coolex does have the triple shrooms here and is going to take the lead over Booth. Or maybe not. Actually, Booth does a pretty good job there in holding on to the lead. Booth protects himself with the green shell. He puts down a banana, which does get Coolex, and Coolex gets... Wow, that was a very nicely played banana, but Booth does fall off. Is Coolex going to make the jump? Yep, Coolex makes the jump. Booth actually doesn't get far enough for Lakitu to actually move him up. We got to think about how strong Lakitu is. Lakitu is like flying on his own, and he's able to carry these characters, you know, along with their carts. Think about how much time Lakitu puts in the gym. Coolex off to a really nice start to lap 3, but he hits a porcupine, which will give Booth a little bit of time to catch up if Coolex doesn't make the jump. Coolex does make the jump comfortably, and Booth also hits the porcupine. This is trouble for Booth. Booth misses the hairpin entirely. Coolex is going to get his 9 points and go to 108. We're going to have to see what Booth does here, because Booth still has to contend with the AI drivers. Looks like he's not going to take any risks with the mini turbos here, and he's going to save his super shrooms. He's going to save it. He's going to go all the way to the finish line and get third. Booth is in trouble, though, because he is now down by 12 points. this means that Coolex really just has to finish in second the next 2 races, and he's fine. Bowser playing spoiler on Yoshi Valley. Next up, we've got Banshee Boardwalk, which makes for some interesting potential plays with shells and lightning bolts. Potentially even stars if there are any star strikes on it. Boof spins out early, does not fall off the track, fortunately for him. Coolex is probably going to play a banana here, which he does, and he slips Booth. Interesting place to get any mushrooms on this track. Oh, and a fake item gets Booth again. Coolex has been placing some really good items. Looks like Booth is just going to save up for some good items? What is he doing? Has he given up? Booth may have already given up as he just kind of sits there with the star. Is he going to try to crash Coolex, or what happened? We're going to take a look and see what has happened. Currently, we are still soliciting product placement from the Mario universe, and unfortunately, the viewership is so low that we are just not getting any ads at the moment, so you get to hear me talk instead. So Coolex and Booth have conferred, and it looks like this may be part of Booth's intentional strategy. Booth is going to try to... Booth has indicated that he wants to make sure that Coolex ends up placing 5th in this race. It does not work, though, because at this moment, Coolex is still in first place. Booth is playing a very interesting game here to try to prevent Coolex from getting points, considering Booth is not going to be getting points by being 8th. But if Booth is able to force a restart by having Coolex be 5th, I mean, it is a strategy, but it's a little bit of a Hail Mary for Booth. Booth trying to hunt down Coolex. It doesn't look like it's going to happen here, as Coolex takes the win and clinches the round. Coolex 117, Booth 96. Coolex is going to advance to face Haddock or Jesse K in the next round. It was an interesting attempt by Booth, ultimately unsuccessful, but certainly an interesting attempt. So we've got an Coolex advancing to the next round. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see if I can blow up this bracket to show where we are at now. So what we've got is Coolex advancing to the next round. And I'm going to go ahead and blow up this bracket so everyone can see where we're currently at. This is the winner's bracket. And there are actually some mistakes here. It was not Wilder who played Booth. It was actually Dark Kirby. And Dark Kirby did lose to Booth. So we got to change that bracket. But right now we've got let's see if I can show the bracket a little better. We've got, we do have Coolex advancing. Go ahead and revise that on our bracket. So we've got Gigi and Coolex advancing to the Elite 8. And then we've got a lot of other brackets going here. We've got Haddock and Jesse K, which I'm sure will be an incredible matchup. Gumby and Denizen have also played a lot of matches like Haddock and Jesse K. So we'll see who ends up advancing there. I'm going to be playing against Martin moving forward, and we still have to set up that match. We've got Tom versus Wilder before we go to the matchup against Ashley. Vayna is going to be facing Elias before the match against Dexter. But we've got a lot of matches, a lot of exciting matches moving forward. And it's going to be an exciting tournament, guys. We're going to have to see who ends up being the very first champion in the first Mario Kart 64 Switch tournament. There is a loser's bracket, so we will still be seeing more of both Booth as well as Simon, who lost, but they're not out of it. Everyone's going to have 2 shots at this. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this stream until the next match, when I'm going to go live. Maybe I'll go live again. I will be commentating a lot of these matches during this tournament. But for now, we have a win by Coolex, who advances to the Elite 8. And this is it for the stream. Thanks for watching, guys.